Gang, she's more damaged now after the Kevin situation. And this is what it's showing, bro. The armor is starting to crack. It starts with the hair. Next thing you know, she's back on the streets. And in today's video, we have Brittany Renner returns to the streets, and this happens. Now, last time we checked in on Brittany Renner, bro, Brittany Renner was part of the streets. You know what I mean? She was getting married to Kevin Gates. You know what I'm saying? And then that shit ended quick, getting into relationships fast. And then, you know what I'm saying? Now we hear she went from marital relations to street relations. T-Raw?
Yeah, man. Like they say, once a hoe, always a hoe. Y'all thought religion was gonna change her?
Again.
The day is October 14th, 2024. I bet you don't remember what you did that day, and neither do I. But thank goodness that Instagram takes account of all times and dates when we make posts on that respective network. And on that particular day, Brittany Renner shocked the world when she said this.
What made you choose Islam? I didn't. I am a human with very limited power and awareness, but I have learned that God selects who he wills for his mercy.
The caption for that post that she read was, Allah chose me. And this was interesting because many people came into that post in the comment section with some level of support and gratitude for her conversion, while others believed that it was all a scam. It wasn't so many months ago that Brittany Renner was drunk and basically twerking on Charleston White, and now all of a sudden Brittany Renner is a Muslim. And then, of course, brothers started wanting to see what was going on with that, and we started to see if she would slip out on Instagram. And did she do it? No, she didn't. She was always covered up, dressed modestly. And then we all wanted to know about Brittany Renner's dating life.
I have not been on a date since I've been Muslim. Now, there have been plenty of married Muslim men in my DMs, and just because it's permissible does not mean I have to sign up for it. I didn't come this far to be one of several, so let's be very crystal clear on that. When you go without sex for an extended amount of time and you are honoring yourself in a way that you never have before, you really start to see where people are leaking their energy, where they lack discipline.
It's interesting that she would say that because all of a sudden she was aware that the people that were trying to talk to her, they had bad energy and they lacked discipline. She wasn't going to be a co-wife for just anybody or at all because, hey, she was going to make a dating choice. It was going to be the right one. And to our knowledge, Brittany Renner made this choice most likely when she converted to Islam and just didn't want to tell anybody, because shortly thereafter, we started to see her make appearances with Kevin Gates. And the next thing you know, they were official. Kevin Gates and Brittany Renner were a couple. Let's stop the show. There's an issue. Wasn't Kevin Gates already married? Damn. Yeah, he was married to Drika Gates. And in fact, he is still legally married to Drika Gates.
Look at how majestic this woman is, man. I can't imagine cheating on this woman.
So we didn't know if this was him taking on a tough man. Or
beautiful.
Drika was in the picture. And it definitely now appears that Drika Gates was no longer in the picture and was okay with Kevin Gates living his life. And so there Brittany Renner was going around with Kevin Gates, obviously receiving a large amount.
I ain't gonna say Brittany Renner is ugly, but she's definitely a downgrade from Draco.
What?
Isn't gold.
Bro, like I said, man, I just remembered. Me and my dog were just speaking on this. Like, why is it that we pedestalize these boppers when they're not even all that? Think about it. We have prettier women out there, better women out there, and we focus on these boppers that aren't even as bad, bro. Y'all gotta question yourselves. Why do we do that? Huh? Why is it that we pedestalize these? I ain't doing it. Yeah, I'm doing it. And I ain't talking about the gang. I'm talking about the nigga who's new to this video, who don't know us, and be watching this because he see us talking shit about Brittany Renner. And we really not talking shit. We just spitting facts. Like, we just calling it how we see it for real.
Yeah, it's truthfully because she has the spotlight.
Yeah, real talk.
It's just like I work in a warehouse that's mostly men. So when a female comes around, niggas are like vultures, bro. In public, these females will get no credit. But because they're the only female around the vicinity, niggas go flock.
That's crazy.
Found out that this relationship was short-lived.
We got married April 6th and divorced May 28th.
I don't know if this
divorced.
applies
Yes.
to Brittany though, man.
But there is a 90-day
Niggas got the freedom
waiting
across the
period
world
in
to get what
Islam,
they
where
want.
it's basically you have 90
Your
days to
shoes.
see if you're pregnant, because then he would be responsible, right? And then also in those 90 days, it's for reconciliation, because Allah wants you to stay married.
Just after 2 months of marriage, Brittany Renner
Whoa.
announces the divorce, and
So
Kevin
Shawty
Gates
ain't
would
even
back
make it
that
through the
up when he went to
probationary
BET
period.
Awards, and he would say that he didn't want to
Sheesh.
talk about it and all of that. And then the future for Brittany Renner was kind
He
of
failed
up in
the
air.
interview.
We didn't really know what was going to happen. And in fact, Brittany Renner was still making appearances just like a normal Muslim woman.
Think about
And
it.
she
You
was
got
even
90
talking
days
about
at your
becoming more
job to
conservative.
make it
People want me to hang on to my cast. I don't have
before
to.
you
I
get
am
fired.
choosing to remove it. I'm choosing to remove. Like, this is my choice. You're either going to suffer by making the sacrifice, or you're going to suffer because you're not sacrificing. My future self doesn't want these tattoos anymore. I'm just going a different direction. At any point in time,
Even
you can
sound
change the
different.
direction of your pen. And so I think for me, it's like peaceful,
She's
powerful,
talking different.
both. I can let go.
Mhm.
Like, I don't have to hang on to it anymore.
As you can see, she talked about changing her
My
past,
God.
and she
And
continued
women
to
want to
go
leave the whole
on
phase behind.
that
They do.
tangent. Now,
They
this is
go through a
interesting because
traumatic
Brittany Renner,
change.
in my honest opinion, she's somewhat
Sheesh.
of a free spirit. So things like
Shit crazy.
Islam or more conservative things, I would think
If
that a
I had
person like
just
her
met
would have an
Brittany
issue
Renner,
with
I
that
would have thought
because
this was
it
a
is so strict.
politician.
But again, this is Brittany Renner, so I believe that she feels like she's always evolving and finding her quote unquote truth, whatever that is. And of course, we hear a lot of women, especially the younger women, always talk about finding their truth.
Oh, man.
And hey,
Too
she
bad
is
you
changing
already
her
know
whole
her.
past by removing those tattoos. But wait, there's more. Brittany Renner would then go on to post this on Instagram. She would post this particular photo of herself, or video of herself rather, and basically, I don't know if it's an Afro wig, but it was without the hijab. And she made a post on that, and on the song in the background was Glorilla Let Her Cook. She says this: I don't have blind loyalty to any person, place, or thing. I also don't need excuses to do what I want to do, because I accept whatever comes behind my decisions. It's still alhamdulillah for everything. Hope this helps. It's interesting because people started to put
What?
their opinions about this subject.
So Brittany Renner is no longer wearing a hijab and has a full-blown afro on Instagram, and talks about on her story how she had to wear braids just to be able to fit her hair under a hijab, and she's not going to compromise or shrink herself to meet anyone's standards or approval. And whether it be like Islam and the culture, or acceptance from Kevin Gates, the person she's claiming she was legally married to, I'm sure that's those are one of the two references.
Bro,
Now, this is very interesting because people are calling BS.
gang, she's more damaged now after the Kevin situation. And this is what it's showing, bro. The armor is starting to crack. It starts with the hair. Next thing you know, she's back on the streets.
To Brittany Renner, they're saying, "Hey, you took all your
But
twerking
y'all
videos
criticize
down
me for giving
when
my
you
opinion
got
in
with
the
PJ
beginning of the
Washington, and
video.
then you put them up as soon as you broke up, as soon as you're not with Kevin Gates
You gonna
anymore.
lie
Now
to
you got
come
an
back to
afro and
agree
you're
with
like
this man,
disrespecting
boy.
her job. Some people are gonna have issues with it. Some people are gonna say, "Hey, she's living in the truth," and appreciate her for just being.
I
I
know
guess,
y'all criticize
her
me,
turning corner.
but I'm gonna read those
It
comments.
wasn't just the guy that we saw, the content creator. It was people in the comment section. Going to hell in multiple religions is wild. Bro, put that ish back on before the women of Islam disown you. Lady Cap says, she's the definition of if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Facts.
Got him. This guy says, imagine she did this ish in Iran. Yeah, it'd be all bad. This person says,
Oh yeah, she's done so.
she's done cosplaying Muslim. The brother says,
He
Kevin
never
Gates
believed
steered
it.
you back to yourself. Individual says, don't play with God like that.
Yeah.
The real DJ says, knew this wasn't gonna last long.
Screen? Hold on.
Nah, you just hit.
You could tell it just wasn't her. Now, I want you guys to understand how Brittany Renner can do this. And I kind of want to get back to something that happened in the history of the Black community. And I want to use Wu-Tang Clan as an example. RZA, who is one of the most known people of Wu-Tang Clan, is going to explain some principles that some of you may or may not know.
What the father was able to do was, through his teachings, he was able to bring out the mathematics and I think one of the most important lessons, which is called the 12 jewels. And those are knowledge, wisdom, understanding, freedom, justice, equality, food, clothing, shelter, love, peace, and happiness.
So RZA is breaking down the 12 Jews, and he mentions somebody by the name of Father Allah. Now, Father Allah, or Allah the Father, is known as Clarence 13X. Clarence 13X was a member of the Nation of Islam who was from Danville, Virginia, and then was in the New York City area, and I believe he was from Harlem. And then he was kicked out, allegedly, of the Nation of Islam for gambling. So what he did was, this particular teaching of the 12 Jews actually was a teaching that Malcolm X used to teach to ministers in the Nation of Islam, from what I understand. And it was only secret teachings that should not be put out there to the public. But what happened was Clarence 13X decided to, if you want to say, perverse the Nation of Islam teachings and take it to the kids or to the children, and started feeding the people with this information. And of course, what happened in 1969 was brutal. He was assassinated for this, right? And so when you look at the nations of gods and earth, and they have a whole lot of influence on hip hop, Nas, Jay-Z, Wu-Tang Clan, Supreme Team, 50 Cent, a lot of these guys use some of these teachings, right? Especially in the idea of the mathematics and teachings like that. Well, it's a perverse ideology of the Nation of Islam. And then some could argue that Nation of Islam is a perverted version of the Sunni original Islam. And so when you look at Brittany Renner and Kevin Gates, it's arguable that they're using a perverse religion of Islam anyway that suits them. So for her, it's okay to change the religion and make it fit her. It's no different than what Christians do all the time. I mean, you can go to some churches. Stop the show. In Atlanta.
I don't want to get into religious talk though, because I was about to get into a rabbit hole.
Pastor,
I don't want to get assassinated in my sleep.
Now, many would argue that is a perverted ideology of Christianity. And for many folks, the reality is this. Brittany Renner was not going to conform to anything that was serious. As soon as things got too hard or got too difficult, she was going to go back to herself. And we all knew that. I was trying to give her an opportunity to say that maybe she has changed, but she didn't. And most people are like this. And then when you see women like Brittany Renner that kind of have, kind of a weak infrastructure, this is not uncommon. And I think that guys need to realize that when you're dealing with a woman that's, dealt with some level of trauma and dealt with some level of, can you say, abuse or self-esteem issues, hey, they may be able to stick with it for a few months, but for a whole year and change their life, they're going to go back to what they were. And if you don't understand that, it's okay. And the fact that she even chose Kevin Gates in the first place, well, we all knew that Brittany Renner eventually could return back to the streets. And after 9 months, I think it's safe to say, or even 8 months, she'll be back posting booty pictures, and she'll be still saying, it's still Allah, I still love Allah, in her own mind, because she'll find a way to still make it okay. And then, after about 2 years, she'll leave the religion completely and go back to clapping it up. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, Shady Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe.
Oh, Shady Jackson. What I will say is, let's just stop using religion as a cover-up, bro. We're all sinners at the end of the day, bro. That's all I gotta say.
I don't agree with that take, bro. I don't agree with that take. As I can say, bro, life is all about your perception, brother. Do with that information as you will. But if you believe God is real, lean into God and stop watching what others are doing. These powerful people are using tools that they know enrage people. The top two tools there are three tools. I just can't remember the third one. Right now, religion and politics top 2 tools to get under anybody's skin, bro. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I'm saying right now. We gotta focus in, bro, and just stop letting them control the narrative. These people have been pulling the wool over our eyes for long enough. By the way, y'all, you know what I'm saying? Streams have been lit. Streams have been fun, vibing, cooling. All right, bro, you reached the end of this video, man. We love y'all. We're grateful for y'all, man. Y'all already know, man. We gonna see y'all in the next video. Enjoy the rest of the video, and we're gonna catch y'all in the next one. Peace.